Welcome back. You've got your water sample. Now it's time to process. These are the things you'll need to do your sample processing. Got your field notebook with a data sheet, a pencil, some forceps or tweezers, a Sharpie, a container for desiccant, your filters. That's desiccant right there. This is a pump, vacuum pump, receiving flask, magnetic filter funnel. This is the 500 milliliter graduated cylinder. We'll use that for TSS filtering. This is the 250 ml graduated cylinder, and we use that for chlorophyll. These are the filters we'll use. TSS filters, chlorophyll filters. That's a stapler. You know what that is. This is a bottles for cyanotoxins and our nutrients. And these are nitrate and ammonium bottles. They're a little smaller than the other bottles. You'll notice it when you get your packet. So the cyanotoxin sample lives in this vial inside the bottle, and that's all your stuff. So one thing to keep in mind before you get started is have a clean workspace that doesn't have any soap around it. A lot of soaps and cleaning products contain phosphorus, and we don't want those in the sample. First thing to do is to fill the cyanotoxin vial. Before we fill anything and get anything wet, let's write on it with a Sharpie. Sharpie's hard to work when it's wet, so make sure that bottle's good and dry. I'm writing lake name in, site number 1, and the date. Open up that bottle and take out the vial. And here's where you're going to start getting water everywhere, so you want a little pan or something to catch water, or you can do this over the sink. So we're going to shake up that 500 milliliter container there, the composite container. Shake it up really well. Take the lid off. Take the lid off your vial too. And no need to rinse this one out. Just fill it up halfway. If you fill it up all the way, the vial cracks when it freezes and we lose the sample. So you can see I got a little too much in there. There we go. It's about half full. Replace the lid. Stick it back into your labeled bottle. Replace that lid. And put it in your freezer on its side like this. That glass vial is very fragile, so we've got to be careful it doesn't crack when it freezes. Fill out your data sheet. Yep, did that one. Nutrient bottle, that's next. Okay, here we go. We're going to fill a nutrient bottle. And here it is. We're going to write on it with a Sharpie first. Fill in the site number and the date. There we go. This one we're going to rinse. So rinse it 3 times. Before we do anything with this sample bottle, we want to shake it. So shake it up. That's probably enough. Alright. These bottles are brand new, but we're going to rinse them out 3 times with lake water first, before we fill them with any samples. So just put a little in the bottom. You don't have to fill that bottle up. Just put a little in the bottom. Shake it up, rinsing the lid at the same time. Do that 3 times. That's 2. Whenever we rinse, we always rinse 3 times. And that's 3. Now it's time to fill it up. Fill it up to the shoulder. We don't want to fill it all the way. We freeze these. These plastic bottles will bubble out. Sometimes the lids will break if they're overfilled. So we like to leave a little headspace in the bottle. Fill it up to the shoulder. It's hard to see in this picture. Your bottles will have a little line on them that says fill. Just fill it up to that line. And put the lid on, and that'll go in your freezer. Head over your data sheet and check nutrient bottle. So now we're going to rinse the filtering gear we're going to rinse these things, these two graduated cylinders and that filter funnel. Again, we're going to shake this bottle up. Shake, shake, shake. All right. We're going to use a lot of this water for our filtering processes, so we don't want to use too much up on the rinse. So put about 10-15 mils or so in the bottom of each of these graduated cylinders each time you do a rinse. Pour it in, shake it around, pour it out. Shake it up, pour it out. You can even, as you're pouring them out, roll the graduated cylinder. Make sure you're rinsing the edges. Rinse this guy out too. Careful, water will come out the back end of it, so just pour some water in, kind of roll it around. You'll notice when I'm done here, I put the lid back on the sample bottle. That's in case I knock it over, it doesn't spill everywhere, and I have to go get another sample. All right, we're ready to go. Let's get that out of the way. So let's do the TSS filters first, cleaning up the table. So this 500 ml graduated cylinder is for the TSS filters. And that's the next step on the field sheet. So shake, shake, shake. Pour the water in to the 500 ml line. It's the topmost line on there. If you've got a really muddy lake, you may find you have trouble doing 500 mils with these filters. It's okay to do less volume. Just make sure you write it down everywhere. So, I don't know if you can see that, but it's filled it right up to the 500 ml line. Take a receiving flask and attach the filter funnel. Make sure that rubber gasket's good and tight in there. And then the hose for your pump, attach it to the arm of the flask. Yeah, you want a good tight seal there. And these are the filters, TSS filters. They'll say TSS on them. We use our forceps to touch the filters. We don't touch them with our bare hands. So we'll take two of these out. We're going to do these in duplicate. So there's 1 and 2. Open up the piece of paper, look inside, and you'll see a filter. Take it out carefully with the forceps. Again, don't use your bare hands. And put it on the filter funnel here. You'll see it doesn't quite fill up the whole space available. So just center it as best you can. And to center it, you're going to want to push it by the edges. Don't poke it in the middle and scoot it around, or you'll punch a hole in the filter, and we don't want that. Now replace the top of the filter funnel and start pouring in some water. Now this thing will not take all of the water at once. It'll only take about 250, 300 mils in there, and you've got more than that in the graduated cylinder. So just pour some of it in first, pump for a while. It'll start going down if you've got a good seal. And once you get some more room in there, you can pour more water in. Don't go too crazy with that pump, or you'll draw too much stuff through the filter. If the water's moving through, you've got a good enough vacuum. Give it a little shake with a little bit of water left in there in case anything settled out. And there we go. That's all the water. Back to pumping. See, the water's still going through even though I'm not pumping. You've got a nice vacuum underneath pulling water through. And here we can see when we're about done. Almost there. And whoop. Now you're done. Put that thing down in that orientation. You can't see it, it's off camera. I'm not a professional photographer. But if the magnet's down on the table, it can collect crud and you get a poor seal. Now it's time to fill out this filter house, as we call them. The date, the volume, site number. And then notice that number there. We're going to be writing that number down on our data sheet. You can release the vacuum with that little switch on your pump. Carefully slide the forceps underneath the filter and then pick it up. Don't tear any pieces off if you can help it. Open up your filter house, lay it flat, make sure it's centered, and carefully fold it in half. What we want is to make sure everything is contained inside. We don't want anything rubbing off. So we're folding it with, you see me carefully picking that up. We don't want to lose any of that material on the filter, so all the material is going to the inside of the fold. That X, center that X on the fold, lay it flat, and then you can just fold it in half. Squish it together. If you open it up and look at it, you'll see that everything contained in that filter is protected by the filter. And fold the sides in and the top down. Staple the corners. Don't staple through the filter, please. Here we go, here's another view. Sides in, top down. And staple the corners. Alright, empty out the receiving flask. Make sure that hose on that receiving flask is facing up when you pour water out. You don't want the water to go into the tube, that hose, and it'll get in the pump and it'll mess it up. So we're going to do this again. We do these in duplicate. We'll go through this one a little faster. Pumpity pump pump. Rest of the water, swish, in it goes. There we go. Filling out the filter house. And this part is tricky, so we're going to show it again. Just carefully pick up the filter off of the filter funnel, taking care not to tear it. And put it in the filter house. Center it on the fold, give it a little tap in the middle. Check to make sure you've got no stuff sticking out the edges. If you do get an uneven fold, you can carefully unfold that filter, rotate it 90 degrees, and try again. Then you fold the sides in and the top down of the filter house, and staple the corners. There we go. Transfer the numbers from your filter house onto your data sheet, including the volume. Take that filter and then put it in the desiccant container. Alright, time to dump this water out. And that's TSS filtering. Now we're moving on to chlorophyll filters. It's CHL for chlorophyll. So open it up, take out your filter, put it on the filter funnel. This one will actually fill the entire space on top of that filter funnel. So center it as best you can, pushing it with the edges. Don't stab it in the middle with your forceps. Push it gently from the edges to get it centered. Shake, shake, shake that sample. We're going to do 250 mils for the chlorophyll filters. So measuring out 250 mils. This is really the same as the TSS filter. The process. The only difference is the filter is a little different, and the volume is less. We don't do nearly as much water through the chlorophyll filters. That filter funnel will hold all 250 milliliters. And then pump. Don't go crazy on the pumping. See, I'm not pumping right now. I just started the vacuum, and you can just let it go for a while. Just give it the occasional pump to keep the water moving. There it goes. All right, time to fill out the filter house. The lake name should already be printed on there. The site number, and the date, and the volume. And the folding occurs in the same way. Here you can see the orientation when I take that filter funnel top off with the magnet up. Carefully pull that filter off. Line it with the intersection of that X. You see that X in there? Make sure that's on the fold. And everything will be nicely contained inside. Put it in the middle, sides in, top down, and staple the corners. And that's a chlorophyll filter. That'll go in the desiccant. And now let's fill out the volume on the data sheet. It's a good way to keep track of where we are in the process. You can see by that sheet we have to do one more chlorophyll filter. But first, let's dump this out. Remember, keep that hose pointing up. You don't want to pour water down that hose. All right, another chlorophyll filter on there. Shake, shake, 250 milliliters. Pour it all in. Pump it through. Center it. Fold it. Into the desiccant container it goes. Fill out the data sheet. Okay, let's put the desiccant on the filters there. You'll get a bag of that blue stuff. That'll last you through most of the season. If you need more, let me know. Now we'll do nitrate and ammonium. These two little bottles, one is for nitrate, one is ammonium. Record the site number and the date on the bottles using a Sharpie. And for scale, these are smaller than the nutrient bottle. Here they are. Now we're going to need to triple rinse these bottles with the filtrate from the chlorophyll filter. So just a little bit of water in each one. Put the lids on, shake them up, and then pour the water out. Alright, now once your triple rinse is done, fill them both up to the shoulder. Put the lids on, and those will go in the freezer as well. Now it's time to fill out the data sheet. There we go, I got the nitrate and I got the ammonium sample. Alright, now for some comments. If you're out on the water and you see anything that might affect water quality, write it down. It was a little gusty out there today, so that might make the water a little muddy. Had a quarter inch of rain the night before. And then this last bit on the field sheet is important for our grant. We use the miles and hours for our grant reporting, and it helps us show the people that give us money that you're doing a lot of work. So please record all your travel miles round trip and all the time it takes you from when you first get up to go sampling drive there, come back, process the samples, and clean up. So this all goes in the freezer, like this, the cyanotoxin vial on its side, nutrient bottle, and the nitrate and ammonium bottle. Once that cyanotoxin bottle freezes, you can stand it upright. Now it's time to clean up. Just triple rinse everything with tap water. Follow it up with a rinse of distilled water. And then air dry everything before you stow it away for your next sampling trip. And that's the end of the video. Thanks very much and good luck with sampling.